Now, one of the cleverest things you can do in Outlook, and it takes some thought, but you can make rules that will automatically organise all your emails for you. The further you go with this, the more organised you will be, and none of it will take any of your time other than thinking of the rules. And I'm going to show you one of the simplest, but one that's been the most useful for me over the last few years. So, we've all probably got inboxes that are completely out of control. Hundreds of emails, you're struggling to focus on the ones that are actually the most important. Even with things like focused inbox, it's still a nightmare. So getting the computer to help you with that is mainly done through rules. So there are two ways to make a rule. You can go to settings, view all Outlook settings, and then you'll see rules, and we can add new rules in here. But there's some ways easier than that. And it's if you start with an email that you want to make a rule from. So for example, this Microsoft email, I might want to make it so all the Microsoft emails go to the Microsoft folder. So it's really easy. I click on it. I click on the three dots or the ellipses at the top, create rule, and it's already starting to make it for me. So I could select the folder that I want it to go to. I could click more options, might be a good idea just to check out in a little bit more detail. So we can check what it's saying. So it's saying the condition is if it's from Microsoft 365 Message Center, the action is to move to the Microsoft folder. And if I tick this box, it will actually run the rule on my current inbox. So you can see they're all starting to move, look. And I've had quite a lot of them. So now, I'm going to show you another rule that you might want. So if I click on this one up here, because it's going to be sort of like this, so I might as well start with that. I'm going to click on the ellipses. I'm going to click create rule. Now, what I want to do here is I want to make a rule, and you'll notice that I've got a me only folder. I want to make a rule that moves any messages where I am on the to or the CC line, and I want it to move to the me only folder. So move to me only. Now this sounds incredibly simple, and it is. However, I found that over the years having a me only folder, if I have only got half an hour to look at my emails and I've got hundreds of emails, it's a nice place to start. Because there, if I've been typed in, so it's not part of a distribution group or anything like that, I've been typed into that email, it's probably slightly more important than others because people are specifically aiming that email at me. I mean, you could go as far as to say you could either make two rules for two folders and have one for the to line and one where you copied in, or you could just do something like this. Now I find that rule is probably the one that helps me the most. And then obviously you can choose to run it straight away if you want, press save, and then it will help you be a bit more organised. And as new emails come in, I'll show you. So I've not ran the rule. So the ones that currently exist are not in that folder. But if I send a new message to myself, me only test, and I press send, what we should see is a number 1 appear next to the me only folder in a few seconds. There we go. And that message is bypassed my inbox and gone straight in that folder. So I can click on that. And if I only had a small amount of time to check my email, that's a good place to start. You can obviously do it in other ways as well. If there's anybody at your work that is a regular sender of emails where they're not related to you, then in that case, you could set up a rule to automatically move them to a folder or automatically delete them. I mean, the risk you've got of doing that is that you are responsible for reading emails in any business or school that come into your inbox. So if you've got rules on that automatically deleted something important, you didn't see it, it's not an excuse that could be used. However, I may have a rule like that set up on my inbox and it's never bit me. So I'll leave that up to you. But if you click rules, just to show you a couple of other options. So this is where you name your rule. Test. I'm not going to go through them all because there's so many, but I just want to show you a couple of things. So there's so many conditions you could use. You could look for keywords in either the message body or the subject. You could look for certain levels of importance. You could look where your name exists, if it does exist. Let's go for my name is on the to line, dead simple. Then let's look at the actions. So we can move them to folders. We could copy something to a folder, so it still leaves it in your inbox, but you get a copy in a folder as well. You could pin it to the top if it's really important. You could delete it. Like I said, some people might find that as useful. Mark them as junk, etc., etc. Forward them to different addresses. Now, what's useful is, I'm not actually going to run this, but let's say we move it to a folder. We can have more than one action. So you could do, I could move it to a folder and I could forward it somewhere. You could add exceptions. So that means it will do this if that's true, except for if this is true. So unless the subject includes the name Bob. So if I'm on the to line, it's going to move me to the me only folder unless the subject's name is Bob, and then it's going to leave the email in the normal inbox. So there is a combination of the conditions, the actions, and the exceptions, probably for anything that you want to achieve with your email, but you've just got to think about how to write it. If anybody wants a specific type building because you're struggling, just ask. But there is usually a combination of these that can solve any problem. And having a couple of rules on your inbox can significantly help bring it down automatically, or even if it doesn't bring the total number down because you don't feel brave enough to do the rules that delete messages, which is totally understandable. The other thing it could do is help you focus your time a little bit more. Because if you do have only so long and the computer has been trawling your email to try and work out the ones that are the most important, then that straight away is stopping you needing to look through every email to work out which ones were directed to you anyway. So there's a couple of tips that hopefully will help.